Friend, Shabbat Shalom, thank you for the chance to share some words of Torah with you this evening. I value the moments that are given to me to speak with you. When our system of justice fails us, the foundation of our society is ungirded. That's clearly a central message of our Torah. For example, look at the life of Joseph. When he is brought to Egypt against his will, he becomes the servant of Potiphar, an Egyptian nobleman. Potiphar's wife seeks to have a sexual relationship with Joseph, but he refuses. Potiphar's wife then falsely accuses him of attempted rape. Joseph ends up in prison for a crime that he did not commit. Joseph would have died in prison if it was not for his ability to interpret dreams. Judaism fears the miscarriage of justice, and it's why Judaism takes so seriously criminal procedure that protects the rights of the accused. And when you study rabbinic literature that talks about how courts should function, at least Jewish courts, this is some of the things that we learn. For example, one Jewish law requires the appearance of two witnesses in order to check the testimony of one against that of the other. Both must be present at the scene of the crime and at the time when it was committed, for their testimony cannot be based on hearsay. It was therefore not sufficient to merely present two eyewitnesses. They had to agree in their testimony concerning major and minor details. In capital punishment cases, when the answers of the witnesses did not correspond to each other, their testimony was entirely invalidated. We need to take seriously Judaism's obsession with false conviction and precise criminal procedure. And is more important than ever when justice is tainted by economic inequality and racial animus. According to the Chicago Tribune, between 2 to 10% of convictions are wrong. An estimated 46,000 to 230,000 innocent people face incarceration. Innocent people face incarceration. Almost 250,000 people are in jail that shouldn't be there. The study by the National Registry of Exonerations reviewed 2,400 exonerations between 1989 and 2019, nearly 80% of which were for violent felonies. Of the 2,400 exonerations, 93 innocent defendants were sentenced to death and later cleared before they were executed. The National Academy of Sciences reports that at least 4.1% of defendants sentenced to death in the United States are innocent. One man needs his life back. Kevin Strickland has spent more than 40 years in prison for a triple murder that he didn't commit. On April 25, 1978, there was a shooting in Kansas City that left 3 people dead. A 4th victim, the only eyewitness to the crime, was wounded. He maintained his innocence, saying that he was at home at the time watching TV, talking on the phone to his girlfriend. At the trial, 20-year-old Cynthia Douglas said that there was no question Strickland was one of the 4 gunmen. On the nights of the killings, she told police she could only identify 2 of the 4 suspects. Yet, the next day, she identified Strickland after her sister's boyfriend suggested that the perpetrator might be Strickland. Strickland's first trial in 1979 ended in a hung jury, 11-1, with only a black juror holding up for acquittal. He was convicted 2 months later by an all-white jury. Douglas later recanted her testimony. In 2009, she wrote an email to the Midwest Innocence Project saying she wanted to help Strickland, who she described as having been wrongfully charged. Ms. Douglas sincerely wished to recant, and she truly believed she was mistaken regarding her identification of Mr. Strickland at trial. Now, in September, many of us read these articles from the Kansas City Star that did incredible work. It shows the importance of having a strong local newspaper. They reported that for decades, two men who pleaded guilty in the killings swore Strickland was not with them, and two other accomplices during the shooting. And a third suspect, who was never charged in 2019, said he knew Strickland was innocent. This is a nightmare that becomes something worse than a nightmare. After a month-long review, Jean Peters Baker, Jackson County prosecutor, said Strickland is factually innocent. Members of the team that convicted Strickland 4 decades ago now all agree he deserves to be exonerated. Earlier this month, the Missouri Supreme Court declined to hear Strickland's case, so his attorneys refiled his petition to the DeKalb County, which is where he remains in prison. 13 state lawmakers called on Governor Mike Parson to pardon Strickland. And here is what should drive us all mad. That's mild. Governor Parson said, addressing clemency petition for Strickland, saying, it is not a priority. This is what our governor said last week. When something like that comes up, we look at those cases, but I don't know that necessarily makes it a priority to jump in front of the line. We understand some cases are going to draw more attention through the media than others, but we're just going to look at those things. Parson noted that Strickland was tried by a jury of his peers and found guilty, but he added that he knew there was a lot more information out there. Yes, Governor. The information is Strickland is innocent. Everyone agrees except you, because you are too lazy or cruel to do something about it. You should be ashamed to go into public. And if you're too lazy to handle this issue, you should just resign tonight. Governor Parson is a moral disgrace. And I just wonder if Strickland's skin was white, would Parson be a little bit more responsive? 42 years in jail. If he is exonerated, he will have suffered one of the longest wrongful imprisonments acknowledged in the United States, and by far the longest in Missouri. 42 years of one's life, and he's innocent. Here is what I am requesting of us all. Shabbat starts this evening at 8:29 p.m. So you have time. No Shabbat dinner for anyone. No cocktail on the porch. No walk in the park. No movies, video games, no answering your email. Until each of us gets on the phone and calls the governor's office. 573-751-3222. 573-751-3222. And here is what you need to say. Well, this is what I'm going to say. Shabbat Shalom. All Americans believe in justice. Kevin Strickland is in jail for a crime that he has not committed. I call upon the governor to act immediately out of righteousness and decency to pardon him. Not a moment can be wasted. Please make sure that the governor hears my request. Thank you. And then you go to governor's website and write him the same thing. And I'm going to ask all of us to continue to do this every Friday afternoon before Shabbat until Strickland is freed. And I'm asking you to get at least one of your friends to do the same. The man lies in jail. He's not guilty. He is our Joseph. Imagine what you would want him to do for you to get you your freedom. His continued incarceration is a stain on our great state, on us, on all sense of justice and decency. There is no Shabbat Shalom tonight until we have done this. Amen.